r/ask Reddit. What is currently happening that is scaring you? A recent medical test showed I have high levels of arsenic in my body, yet it's not in my water, nor has it been, since I've lived in my current location. Do you eat rice? Arsenic is highly water soluble and rice padders in some areas are notorious for poisoning via absorption from irrigation. I believe it's brown rice specifically. So if Op is eating brown rice more than 2 to 3 times a week, it could be contributing to his arsenic levels. I had a kidney transplant 2 weeks ago and just got a 9 PM call that my lab numbers look like I might have internal bleeding. I'm scared I'm going to lose my new kidney before I've even healed. I'm so sorry, and I hope it all turns out okay for you. My son, who turned 18 last week, is making the most horrible life decisions. He's going to wind up in jail or dead. I'm so scared for him and of him. My ex-wife's brother went down that road. His friend group was abysmal. Made awful choices with drugs. Knew him for 9 years, almost 10. From 18 to 21 he went straight downhill and his parents tried to pray it out of him instead of seeking professional help. A year after her and I divorced, his father found him dead of an overdose in his bedroom. Sometimes I wish I had tried harder to be there to help him. I tried to talk him into the military or anything to get him away from that *** group of people. He just wouldn't bite. RIP buddy. I'm so sorry. It took a lot of gumption and humility to take my son to the earth. I feel for your in-laws. It's hard. But it's stories just like this that made me do it. I'm a nurse in a small community. I went so far as to take my son to a hospital 80 miles away. They have a dedicated pediatric too. No one would be like I know Dual and Dual Jr. They're fine. Just release him. I needed unbiased eyes, not my nursing school friends. Military won't always help. My best friend growing up, his older brother was in a similar situation. Joined the military, went to war, came home and odd in his childhood bedroom. Parents found him the next morning. War is asterisk. Drugs are asterisk. Trauma is trauma. Professional help can be such a blessing. Forcing professional help on someone doesn't help anything, causes resentment, and can potentially extend behavior, which if the possession of a loan wasn't illegal and people didn't have lifelong consequences, would be grown out of by mid-20s for most people. I'm someone who spent 4 years of my life in jail and rehabs, with a rap sheet a mile long. These things forced on me did nothing but cause long-term problems in my life and those relationships. Even with my record I nowadays make a good living, but most people can't. Most people, once they enter the system, because mommy and daddy called the police, end up in it time and time again. You literally have no right, by the way, to have an opinion on what caused someone else to die, especially when it was of their own free will. You have to be a real social individual to actually blame parents for not knowing what to do, considering there is literally nothing they could do. I have terminal cancer. I don't want to die. Lost my mum to breast cancer 2 years ago after 5 years of fighting a disease that should have killed her in under 2. Her motto was don't stop. Set a goal that you can complete in a couple of months. Hit that goal and have another waiting. Do all the asterisk you need to do and smash your bucket list. Don't let it get a hold over you. It is your body. You own it. Do all the things. Death comes for us all, but that doesn't mean you have to lay down and take it. Get out there and fight. Godspeed you monkey. May you fling poo for years to come. Turning 30 soon. Time feels like it has sped up since high school. I blink and the years seem to fly by. Makes me contemplate life and what I should spend my time and focus on. Squeezing the most out of things while I still have my youth. I feel like I'm going to blink again and be turning 50. Yep, that's how it goes. I just turned 30 about a year or two ago and now I'm 38. 32 here and my daughter is due in September, our first child. I feel this time warp effect already and it weighs on my mind like some kind of weird FOMO. How bad is time going to warp once most of my time outside of work will now be put towards the development and care of my child instead of pursuing my bucket list? Don't get me wrong. I'm thrilled and excited to be a father, no resentment. I do think this will make the time warp worse, though. My friend is being physically abused, but is trying to reconcile and stay with the abuser. I struggle when I see my friends in relationships with abusive people, and from the outside it can seem so easy to just leave. It makes you question their sanity. How can they stay with a person they so obviously know is bad for them? But being on the other side of it as well, you don't realize how bad it actually is till you're out. You justify their behavior, or they gaslight you into believing what they're doing is reasonable. It might be hard, but you should probably emotionally separate yourself from the situation. Of course, provide your friend whatever support they need, but don't become so wrapped up in it that it overshadows your own life. Step in, only if there's an emergency. I'm speaking from experience. Too often I get so emotionally invested in my friends' struggles, particularly in regard to abusive relationships, unfortunately, that I become overwhelmed and stop taking care of myself. Much love to you and your friend. This is good advice. To add, don't get wrapped up in it, but never drop that friend. That's what the abuser wants you to do. Less dissenting voices, more isolation for their partner equals more control for them. You don't have to actively get involved in their arguments. You don't have to offer unsolicited advice. But you know that's not right. And, well, I'm always here for you. Can make a world of difference to the abused. That said, at a certain point you do have to protect yourself. Prepare for some complicated backstory RIP. Not using any real names here. My friend Mary got out of an abusive relationship, met a new guy Stan who seems nice, is great with her toddler, everything. Stan is still in contact with his ex-wife Anna, even after 5+ years divorced. Anna ended up in an abusive relationship after him. Extreme asterisk. Has hospitalized her multiple times, isolates her from everyone, low-key gang/mafia asterisk, known to the cops and all that. William. Anna keeps threatening to leave but never does. Classic honeymoon. Tension. Aggressive. Honeymoon cycle. Really textbook abuse. Mary can't bear to leave another person in an abusive relationship after what she went through. Does her best to be friends with her even with the awkward emotionally dependent ex-wife thing and everything. Talks Anna through it. Reminds her of the awful stuff he's done when she's in the lovey honeymoon phase. Offers to let her stay with them if she needs a place. Will pay for her plane ticket to their state. Helps her find work to apply for here. Everything. One night Mary gets a phone call at work from Anna screaming and crying, driving around the city lost at night, saying that William is going to kill her after a huge fight. Hysteric. Stan and Mary are trying to get her to go to the cops and stay there, or to get on a plane and come stay with them, not to go back to the house. William calls up Stan as well and graphically describes how he's going to rape Anna with a knife, strangle and resuscitate her over and over, and that he'll come after Stan and Mary and her kid if they interfere. He knows their address somehow. Anna stops answering her phone. Stan is self-harming from worry about everyone. Mary is trying not to pass out from her heart condition. Cops haven't heard anything. Complete clusterfuck. Anna messages them back like 2 days later saying everything is fine and barely acknowledges what happened. Says William is fine now and he's sorry and she doesn't need to leave. Goes back to low-key flirting at Stan and trying to be best friends with Mary. Completely going back to the honeymoon phase. Mary's still trying to be there if Anna really needs help, but she can't deal with the stress it puts on their family and the risk to her son, and she's told Anna that if she really wants out they'll help, but they can't afford to get dragged into the drama cycle of it. Laid off a few months ago. Severance ends soon, and I keep getting rejected on new prospects. Trying to get into new roles, since my experience is a bit niche and I've exhausted those options. Feel like a failure, and don't know what I'll do if I can't find something soon. The only thing I can offer is, your work may seem niche, but I'm sure there are ways to cross it over into other things if you have to. I found a career that I enjoy immensely on accident. Edit. Good luck whichever way. My partner of 3 years and I officially separated yesterday. All my plans, dreams and long-term goals have involved her in some way or another, and I feel incredibly lost. I am terrified of a future without her, but I know I need to get through this. Edit. Thank you all for the kind words, it means a lot. I'm doing better today than I was yesterday, and I believe that will continue to be the case going forward. I went through this in 2016. Dated a girl for 3 years. She was my first love, yada yada, fell head over heels, and planned my entire life around her. I couldn't conceive of a time without her. And then one day she was gone. Few weeks later she was with someone else. I was at the cliff edge of suicide, and was the most anguished and isolated I've ever been. I didn't know how to exist without her. Funnily enough, an old cliche turned out to be true. Time healed things. Slowly, steadily, I went outside. I talked with friends. Confided in family. Started reading more. Took up hobbies. Threw myself into fitness and then university. 3 years later, when I went from what I thought was something to nothing, and then actually something, I'm a stronger and renewed human being, thankful for that crucible. I have a degree, I'm physically fit, more educated and wise, more whole, and my current girlfriend just sent me a text saying she wants to spend her life with me. Things will improve. I promise you. Please stay strong and expand yourself beyond the horizons of what you once knew. You will thrive. I've been searching for a job for several months now, with no success. We have enough in savings to survive for another 6 weeks. I'm married, and we have children, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to support my family. Edit. You all are amazing people. The amount of support and just the overall good advice in the responses here blow me away. Thank you all so much. Also, as many were asking, I have worked in non-profit leadership for nearly a decade. The skill set would transfer well to for-profit work. I also have database administration work experience along with a Salesforce admin certification. I'm happy to relocate. I've applied locally, near Erie, Pennsylvania, nationally, USA, and internationally. Yes, I'm open to other fields, working through a temp agency, multiple jobs, below my qualifications, and similar. I've had my resume professionally edited. I've applied for unemployment benefits, but have been informed that until our savings are further depleted, that we cannot receive anything. I understand that, and will apply in the future if need be. Thank you for the gold and silver. I've tried to respond to everyone, but believe some were missed unintentionally. If I don't reply within a couple of days and you were anticipating that I would, please notify me. I will definitely update this post once I land a position. Hey man, hang in there. I can't imagine the stress this is putting you in, and I'm sorry that you are going through it. The only advice I can give you is keep looking. Use those job search websites. Get in touch with job recruitment agencies which will help you find a job through their contacts. Talk to your own contacts as to whether they know about any jobs that may be circulating around. It's a tough position you're in, but you can pull through. Your spouse is there to support you too, so never be hesitant to talk to them, as well as a close friend or family member that won't tell anyone else about your situation. You have my best wishes. Thank you so much. I've been applying like crazy, both locally and worldwide, in 2 career fields that I have solid qualifications in. Without exaggerating, I've applied to over 105 positions that, based on the description and qualifications, I'm a great match for. I've applied to another dozen positions that are either a bit beyond me, or for which I'm overqualified. It's so frustrating to be at a standstill. I've worked since I was 14, and have never been unemployed for this long. My wife has been amazing throughout all of this. I've also been seeing a counselor to help deal with the depression and its side effects I've been experiencing. He's helping pro bono, which is a tremendous help in its own right. The aging of my parents. It's like one day I just woke up and realized they were more than halfway through their lives. I keep wanting to reset their clocks. Yep. My dad passed last Wednesday. I took it pretty hard, despite knowing it was coming. due to his age and couple health issues. Now I'm at the point where I don't believe he's gone and have come to my own realization that I don't want to get old. I just don't. From this 65-year-old, no THST research shows that this is the most happy time of life. I lift weights, race walk 4 miles a DSY and SM healthy and strong. It is a privilege growing old, and I love my life. Orgasms have never been better. Nothing at all to fear, especially if you take care of yourself. I'm the aging parent now, and I'd say don't be afraid. You're an extension of them, and as much as you care for them, their focus is probably on your well-being and happiness. Needed to hear this. My father is ill and my mother is beginning to show signs of decline that I really wish I could ignore. So fortunate to have had them in my life this long, but can't imagine a world without either one. I guess life never asks if you're ready. My suggestion, while you still have them, is to begin conversations, interviews if you will, about their lives. It's amazing what you will learn. Talk to them together, and then separately. I did this with my parents over a 5-year period. We lived a 3-hour plane trip distance. I did it through face-to-face when I was visiting, supplemented by many long phone calls. They lived long, satisfying lives and died 6 months apart. Dad first at 95, mom at 89. I'm now their living oracle, nothing left unsaid or unknown. I'm in the same boat as Minty Spaff, only more complicated as my younger sister, 17Y/O, is severely disabled, non-verbal and has basically no independence whatsoever. My mother has been dutifully caring for and loving my sister for her whole life, while my dad has pressured/continues to pressure my mother to institutionalize her. My mother has said that, as long as she is alive she will do everything including leave my father, to make sure my sister is not institutionalized. I remember my mother saying this when my parents fought about it when I was younger, and her resolve was only reinforced due to incidents of carriagevers at the public school my sister attends hitting her and withholding water/juice. I'm very fearful of the day my mother passes away, if my sister is still alive, which is very likely as my sister's physical health is very good, and my mother has a family history of cancer which took the lives of both of her parents/my grandparents. So besides worrying about the day I lose my mother, I also feel the need to worry about the future well-being of my sister. She is extremely difficult to care for due to behavioral issues and being non-verbal, and my father is essentially doing nothing to prepare for my sister to have any form of financial stability without him, which is baffling to me as he wants to send her to a home but doesn't have any money saved to pay for it. My goal is to have some form of investment account set up before my mother passes away, so I can take my sister and afford to hire an in-home caretaker, but this is challenging as I already have my own child to care for. I say all this in response to your comment, because my mother constantly assures me I do not need to worry about it, and talks about it as if it's so far in the future. I'm 24 and my mother is 59, but no amount of reassurance from her really seems to make me less fearful. Same. I understand life much better now than when I was young. I always resented the fact they were that old when they had me. My parents were both 40 when they had me. My mom's health started declining when I was 15, and she died by 30, but my father was in great shape for a man his age, to the point my grade 2 teacher thought he was hot. She said he looked like Victor Newman, but I took that for granted until he died too. I was 37 when I had no parents left, forever. I'm now 43, and I have teenage children who don't have grandparents, and my parents *** love them, and did **sucks. So make time for them, and help them with whatever they need as they age. My gallbladder. About 2 months ago, I started having the worst pain of my life out of nowhere, sometimes for hours at a time. Doctor said just change your diet, but even after doing that, I still have attacks sometimes. I treated myself to a single ice cream sandwich and felt like I had been stabbed in my stomach until I threw up for 20 minutes and felt fine again. I finally have a consultation with a surgeon to talk about getting it removed, but anytime I eat anything even vaguely fatty I get super stressed out, and I've developed mild food anxiety. I get stressed out eating literally anything, because it might set off another attack and I literally don't feel mentally strong enough for it. I get an attack once every 2 to 3 weeks now. I will have an experimental brain surgery soon. I'll lead an active life, traveling, dating, fitness, before I got mysteriously ill last year. My health is getting worse despite all the medications and at-home infusions I do. My doctor is like house. He has great outcomes and is leader in complex diseases. I'm still very financially and physically independent in my day-to-day despite some physical limitations. My boyfriend and I just had a breakup last weekend. We fought about whether he could be there for the surgery. It's 10 days in New York, and he works in Mountain View for a tech company. He said I need to understand that he derives a lot of self-worth and validation from his career, and that I'm basically asking him to quit his job if he has to show up to the surgery. He used to say that my illness brought us closer together and that's why he fell in love with me. After almost 3 years together, he stopped showing up when he said he would, so I had to end it. I relied a lot on him for emotional support. I stopped talking to my family few years ago due to a lifetime of abuse and trauma. I have friends and ask them for support, but I get scared of becoming a burden for anyone. Asking for help is more scary than the surgery itself. I'm scared of a lot of things, asking for help when I need it, my health worsening and becoming bedbound, and settling romantically for someone because I'm damaged. My mom was an alcoholic and quit I believe 27 years ago. I'm 22 and never knew her like that, and it has always been an extraordinary accomplishment. She was so bad that she had a handle of vodka on her bedstand for years and couldn't get out of bed until she drank said vodka. Well, I grew older and she stayed sober to my knowledge. She then started doing a lot of pills. Years passed and more pills every day. Multiple random ones, then benzos, then lots of opiates like tramadol etc. I left college for a year about a year ago and lived with her and truly saw the impact. Side note, my mom has always been cool with weed. She never smoked with me until I was like 18, but she didn't care if I did, and I knew she also did. When I moved in with her that 1 year, it made me hate weed. She smoked the second she woke up until the second she went to bed. She took all these crazy pills in between. One day I typed all her pills into a medical interaction website and found all these critical deadly interactions these medications had. Many of these interactions explained the extreme paranoia and unstableness she's been having for a long time now. I left my mom's house a year ago because it was time, and I also began stealing some of her more addictive medications. She had to hide them, and I knew that if I was there I would find a way to find them. That aside, I've been gone for a year and a half now, and mom has gotten progressively worse. Sorry this is long. What scares me the most is that my mom is known as someone who beat addiction. She's a social worker at the local elementary school and also teaches college courses on drugs and addictions. She had helped so many people for years that it's impossible to go into public with her without people coming up and hugging her, kids coming up to her and screaming how much they love her, etc. She's like a kid inside and has helped countless people/families, which makes it really hard to acknowledge her own addictions, especially to her. I've tried. She cries multiple times a day and it's impossible to speak to her about anything without her going hysterical. She's lost all her friends. She lost her longtime boyfriend and is unable to communicate to anyone else on a personable level. She has become completely handicapped in every regard that used to make her so beautiful. The last time she was like this was when she was an alcoholic, and that's what she bases her work on. I never knew her like that, and it's terrifying feeling like she's very similar to that today. She's functioning in society, yes, but she's miserable. I haven't had a conversation with her in nearly 2 years without her bawling. She's lost everyone besides me due to unrelated circumstances, and it's horrifying seeing her spiral into exactly the same devil she told me about for my entire life. I've tried to acknowledge it, but this time is different, and she doesn't understand, and gets very upset. I love her more than anything, and don't want to make her more upset, but she started her addictions with one vice, and now she has multiple more socially accepted devils. I'm 22 and she has always been my #1, and god I miss her so much, but I can't do anything about it. I'm an atheist, but I beg God to save her every day. She told me a couple months ago that she wants to die. What the asterisk am I supposed to do about that? I live a couple states away, but I still only ever worry about her. Sorry this is so long. It's such a weird situation to me, and I seem to be the only one left to see it. I'm currently conspiring to move a friend I've never met, but have spent thousands of hours with online across the country, and into our home, to get him out of a horribly abusive household, mostly mental abuse, sometime physical. We've planned this for over 2 years, and had to jump on it, because his parents are about to start a guardianship case, to strip away his rights as an adult. He is 20 years old and a very kind and talented person. He lives in a small town and his father is the local pastor. Everyone knows who he is, and have been instructed for years, to report everything he does back to his parents. For example, he was locked in his room for 2 weeks and internet was off. Phone taken away, because someone saw him sending something out at the post office. He flies out tomorrow morning, and if they catch him, it's over because they will lie to the courts, to remove his rights as an adult. I'm a pile of nerves right now. To add, we've waited over 2 years, because we both wanted him to finish high school. I also didn't have space until now as I've just purchased my first home. Edit. We've talked online so much, because he would join my Discord while I streamed, or just played games. He is not allowed to play video games. Last year I got a really bad infection from these 2 broken molars I have. I went to the dentist for the first time in like 18 years. I know, it's bad, and he said that I would need to extract both of them and get a bone graft so I could get an implant in the place of one. I've been putting it off because I don't have dental insurance and I haven't been able to afford to do everything. But one of the teeth has been acting up a bit recently, and I'm scared of another infection. I'm also scared of just how much all problems with my other teeth are going to cost me as well in the future. If you're young and reading this, please don't neglect your dental health, or you'll wind up regretting it like me. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. I would be so grateful if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. New videos every day.